me that green light. Give me that green light, Maine. Give me that green light. Give me that green light, Maine. Give me that green light. Give me that green light, Maine. Give me that green light. Give me that green light, Maine.
Tonight's Greenlight Maine is sponsored by Thomas Mosier Furniture. Handmade American furniture since 1972.
Welcome to Greenlight Maine. We are growing Maine one dream at a time. I'm Don Gooding, and I'll be your host for tonight's competition when two entrepreneurs go head-to-head in front of a panel of 3 judges for a chance to win at least $100,000 in cash. I hope you will join our celebration of the talent, grit, and creativity of Maine's most promising entrepreneurs. You can learn more at greenlightmaine.com and share your thoughts in our online communities on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Tonight, we have a distinguished panel of judges. On the far end, Jeff Spalding is a corporate attorney with Eaton Peabody and a big part of the entrepreneur scene in Bangor. Jeff, great to have you.
Don, thanks for having me. This has been a great program. It's been great for Maine. And I really appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight.
And in the middle, we have Rob Kelly, founder of Liquid Hub and a fellow Maine Angel. Rob, great to have you here as well.
Thanks, Don. A pleasure to be here.
And finally, we have our sponsor tonight. Scott Wenzel is Director of Marketing for Thomas Mosier Furniture. And thank you very much for providing all of this.
Thank you for the opportunity. It's a real pleasure to be here.
Well, I'm sure you're all excited to hear the first pitch, and we are ready for that. We have Leland Stillman, who is founder of Foodwise. Take it away.
Thank you, Don. My name is Leland Stillman, and I'm a medical doctor in Portland, Maine. And a big part of what I do is to counsel patients on their diet and how they can improve it, whether that's for their heart disease or their diabetes or their food allergies. And one of the things I've noticed over the last several years is that more and more people are trying to avoid more and more things in the food supply. 1/3 of Americans are trying to avoid gluten. Another 1/3 are diabetic and are trying to avoid high sugar, high carbohydrate foods. Another 2/3 are overweight or obese and are trying to cut down on high calorie foods. And the rest of the public seems to be on some kind of specialty diet. The paleo diet, the Atkins diet, the ketogenic diet, the South Beach diet, or even just the vegan or the vegetarian diet. And they all have a problem in common. And the problem is the way that the food ingredients and nutrition facts are listed on the side of the food packaging. They're very confusing. We're left with 10-point font lists in the ingredient lists that are full of confusing chemical names that even people who have a background in food science may not understand the meaning of. And on top of that, the food manufacturers are allowed to include or disguise ingredients with a different name. So for example, MSG might actually be labeled as artificial flavoring. We've come up with a solution to this problem, and the solution is going to be a mobile app. We are designing and we will soon be releasing an Android app where you enter your personalized dietary preferences. You then scan the barcode of a food product, and the app will tell you if there's anything in the food that you're trying to avoid. We plan to launch for Android initially. We will then user test our product and iterate it. We will then expand to iOS. Ultimately, we will build a web app. When we launch initially, we will be a ad-based free version plus a subscription ad-free version. And then we will go to an affiliate marketing model. There's lots of chefs, health and fitness gurus who would be happy to be our affiliates and sell our product. We'd like down the road to add features like a calorie counter, exercise tracker, and a personalized meal planner that can help people find recipes that are just right for them. Thanks for having me at Greenlight Maine, and I look forward to answering your questions.
Okay, plenty of time for those. Jeff, first one.
Yeah, Leland. So what do you understand about this space that your competitors just don't get?
So that's a great question, and it's one that I really like. So there are actually a lot of diet companion apps out there, but my problem with most of these is that they tend to be one size fits all. And that's a big problem. I mean, there's so much variability. We're building in 30 different categories of foods that you can avoid, and our closest competitor doesn't come close to that. And one of the most consistent complaints on their website or their mobile app page in the Android store is actually that they don't cover all those categories. And on top of that, I've got plans for some categories that would really truly be custom and unique to our product.
Interesting. Rob?
What would you think is your greatest challenge to success right now as you look forward into the market?
You know, I think that the success of any business really depends fundamentally on the team. And right now, I'm working alone, and I really need to find other people to join my team and help me grow the business in the direction that it needs to go. Obviously, they need to be Maine entrepreneurs, and so I'm working hard to network and find the right people to build the product to where it needs to be.
Okay, Scott, question from you.
Sure. You mentioned a couple different groups of people that might be potential customers. Do you have a sense for the size of the market that you're going after at this point?
I do, yeah. The funny thing is that really I'm targeting almost everybody. My philosophy is that either you truly don't need this app, or more likely you do need it and you might not know it. Just walking down the street, you see a lot of people who are obviously not paying attention to their diet, and it's sad because I end up meeting them in some place like the cardiac ICU, and then we have a serious conversation about the choices that they're making. So, you know, everyone, if you don't need it today, you're going to need it tomorrow. And
I'm going to ask a question. So, what have you done so far to get customer feedback on the initial product that you're going to be releasing?
So we are currently prototyping our Android app. We've really just shopped it around to a small group of friends and family. We will be actively user testing it before launch over the coming weeks and months.
Okay, Jeff, maybe another question?
Yeah, so you talked a little bit about the size of the market. I think you talked about some of your customer segments. Really though, I think I'm interested in what proportion of the market you think that you could actually address. Maybe this is too early to make the call, but...
Quick answer?
So I'll give you the numbers run through. 10% of the population has confirmed food allergy. 1/3 are avoiding gluten. It's difficult to estimate then overlaps. You know, if 60% have diabetes, or 60% are overweight or obese, 33% have diabetes.
That's a big number. Okay, we're gonna have to wrap up the Q&A there. We will be back after a short break for a discussion with tonight's sponsor, Scott from Thomas Moser Furniture. We'll see you just in a moment.
One bank in New England, a Maine bank, was recognized for putting their customers first. One bank was recognized by J.D. Power for highest customer satisfaction with retail banking in the New England region. That bank is Bangor Savings Bank. We're honored. This award means a lot to us because you mean a lot to us. Bangor Savings Bank. You matter more.
Hi, I'm Lori LaChance, president of Thomas College. Our graduate and undergraduate programs prepare you for success in your personal and professional life and for leadership and service in your community. I know firsthand the value of a Thomas degree. My Thomas MBA completely changed the trajectory of my career, giving me opportunities I would never have had without it. Thomas College provides a great education that is personal, relevant, affordable, and guaranteed.
If any of you in our television audience has a big idea, we encourage you to visit greenlightmaine.com for a list of resources and information about starting your own
Welcome back
business.
to Greenlight Maine for a discussion with tonight's sponsor. We have with us Scott Wenzel, who's Director of Marketing of Thomas Moser Furniture. Thank you so much for your support, your beautiful furniture here for this set of Greenlight Maine.
It's really our pleasure.
So I really love the story of Thomas Moser. You want to relate that a bit for our audience?
Sure. Tom and Mary Moser founded our company back in 1972. Tom walked away from a tenured professorship at Bates College.
Is that right?
To pursue a passion, making things out of wood with his hands, and had no cash flow, no business plan, none of the wonderful tools that our entrepreneurs have these days. So it was really sweat equity and passion and commitment that got them to where we are today, 45 years later.
And you probably have a plan now, right?
We do. We have all that stuff now. But one thing that hasn't changed really is our commitment to craft and how we make furniture one piece at a time, one craftsman at a time.
And we have a great video that highlights the important role of those craftsmen, and we're going to show that now.
I started Thomas Moser Cabinet Makers in 1972 in response to an incessant calling to use my hands to make furniture in wood. Along with my wife Mary and our 4 sons, we built what now comprises a family of craftsmen, some 70 strong, all united by a single commitment to make things in wood better than just about anyone else on the planet. The manifestation of our commitment to excellence is our signature on every piece of furniture. Mine was the first. It is indeed our craftsman with his or her own signature who hold the honor to testify to each piece's worthiness of 1, the gift of natural materials, 2, the sensitive and disciplined eye of the designer, and 3, the practiced hands and countless heartbeats given to its making. The right to deny a signature should any piece fall short is as much the craftsman's responsibility as it is to confirm the highest standards met on behalf of the entire family. As we continue our evolution to enrich the lives of our community and to be ever more relevant, we must collaborate with others to innovate in design, in material, in application. We must push to make our pieces ever better, pieces to which nothing can be added and nothing taken away.
Well, that's such a great Maine craft story. So I know Thomas Moser's been all over the place. What's kind of the coolest thing that you've done with your furniture?
Well, one of the things that we were really proud of is to build furniture for the George W. Bush Presidential Library in Texas. And when they dedicated that library a few years ago, all of the living presidents and their first ladies sat in our chairs in front of the world. And it was quite a moment for our company.
That's amazing. So it's quite an honor. I'm sure any of the entrepreneurs on the show would love to have that happen to their products. So we're going to be back after a short break for pitch number 2 here on Greenlight Maine.
Furniture for Greenlight Maine is provided by Thomas Moser Furniture, handmade American furniture since 1972.
The Amazing Music of Mainers is a 2-CD set of 26 songs by many of Maine's most famous recording artists.
I'm just a dime store hero, falling in a tag.
This 2-CD set is available at all Bull Moose and Maine credit unions.
I will take from the reach all that she has to teach.
And online at mainvillepublishing.com.
You can help out if you want to. Inch by inch.
As a leader in Maine and New England in providing integrated accounting, consulting, and tax services to clients large and small, the team at MacPage has proven to provide innovative solutions to help us better meet our clients' needs. We enjoy the people we serve and care about the work we do. The success of our business is based upon our ability to develop quality relationships, one client at a time. MacPage. Accessible, approachable, accountable.
Greenlight Maine would like to thank Maine Startup and Create Week, a conference worth skipping work for.
And we're back at Greenlight Maine. It's a good time to get hashtag Greenlight Maine out there because we're ready with our second pitch of the evening. With us is Casey Smith from EterNav. Take it away, Casey.
Thank you. EterNav, short for Eternal Navigation, brings new technology and support to families faced with the unexpected loss of a loved one, offering more affordable, convenient, and personalized bereavement solutions. The funeral home business rose out of the Civil War, and 150 years later, little has changed. But with a dramatic and permanent shift taking place, there's a new death care consumer. Funerals are a $30 billion industry. 2.5 million people die a year in the US. Average funeral costs are $12,000. A big problem for 75% of the country who are not financially prepared and who feel forced to incur long-term debt. Traditionally made of two constituencies, suppliers and consumers, our research reveals a growing third constituency, those closest to the problem. We call them loss advocates. Caregivers, hospice, and more, who are left cobbling together solutions to help families. The antiquated funeral home model caters to the high net worth 20% of the market, leaving the majority underserved, and dignified alternatives are not readily available. The new consumer wants to avoid financial disaster and poor decisions made in the haze of loss. They don't have access to the right information when needed, and they don't have control. They are lost, but still must make crucial financial and family decisions that have long-term impact, without an advocate at their most vulnerable time or access to the numerous choices that are available to them. EterNav brings together all the elements online to assemble a funeral with or without a funeral home. Our easy-to-use, step-by-step software lets families honor their deceased with a loving and respectful funeral that doesn't break the bank. An early supporter, Pastor Jim, officiates over 100 funerals a year, and more than half are without a funeral home. EterNav lets someone like Pastor Jim easily create an obituary, detail arrangements, and apply for a death certificate. Our transparent process addresses the top 3 consumer demands, a broad array of personalized, affordable, and convenient options. Our technology modernizes this stagnant sector with 7 proprietary toolkits. We introduce a new job category of self-employed independent professionals who give expert advice to families. With access to a network of personal advocates, new tech tools that automate the practical tasks, and direct consumer access to virtually unlimited products and services give our users a savings up to 80% less than funeral homes. With help from Greenlight Maine, we capture $2 million in revenues by the end of year 2. We reach break-even in early 2018, and we're ready to scale.
Okay, and we're ready to go to questions and answers. Rob, first question.
Yeah, talk to me about what the alternatives are in the market today. Is it only the local funeral home that's available for a bereaved family?
There are hundreds of thousands of sites online to help families, but they're very difficult to find, and they're typically single topic focused. So it's very hard to find everything all in one place, and dignified options are difficult to find.
Okay, Scott, question from you.
Yes, you talked about the market size across the country, but are you going to start being more local, or are you going to go for the whole thing right off the bat?
Yes, that's one of the keys to the differentiators between us and other folks online, is that we've realized death is local. And we begin with focusing on the 13,000 deaths in the state of Maine before we expand to the rest of New England.
Okay, Jeff, over to you.
Yeah, so what are the barriers to entry in your area here? What's to prevent new entrants into this market?
Well, all startups have challenges, and we think ours is to provide supreme customer service with a flawless marketing plan.
Could you talk a little bit about who these loss advocates are that you're going to be enabling with your system?
Yes, loss advocates, it's very important for a family to have a neutral advocate on behalf of the family and even on behalf of the deceased in some cases. So loss advocates will not work for EterNav. We help train them, and we have a certified training program, but they go off into the world somewhat like a wedding planner, although that our clients require their services far beyond the one day of a funeral. Okay,
quick question maybe from Rob or Jeff?
Yeah, I'm curious about to extend on the loss advocates question. It seems like you're tackling an awful lot at once. You're trying to create a new job category, a new ecosystem, et cetera. Can you quickly just kind of give me a sense of, is one thing more important to tackle first?
Quick answer.
No, actually, loss advocacy is integral to making it work for families.
Okay, I think we have a lot more that we'd like to ask, but we're going to go to a break now. After that, we will be back for judge deliberations about these two companies here on Greenlight Maine.
Broadcast facilities provided by NESCOM, the New England School of Communications at Husson University.
Hi, I'm Lori LaChance, president of Thomas College. Our graduate and undergraduate programs prepare you for success in your personal and professional life and for leadership and service in your community. I know firsthand the value of a Thomas degree. My Thomas MBA completely changed the trajectory of my career, giving me opportunities I would never have had without it. Thomas College provides a great education that is personal, relevant, affordable, and guaranteed.
FAME is one of the great resources in our state to enable businesses to find financing.
FAME helps Maine businesses create and retain quality jobs.
Every person that we've dealt with at FAME has been helpful and has been, for us, a partner.
The whole idea is to find the right tool for the right job. FAME is the right tool because it's flexible and they're there when you need them.
From business startup through maturity, FAME works to get you to yes.
Thank you, FAME.
Thank you, FAME.
Thank you, FAME.
Please visit greenlightmaine.com to follow the progress of your favorite entrepreneurs and find information and resources about becoming an entrepreneur yourself.
And we're back on Greenlight Maine. It's a good time to share your thoughts on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter as we talk to the judges about what they think about these two companies. So Jeff, let's start with you. Strengths and weaknesses of these two companies.
Yeah, so I think the strengths of Foodwise, he had a very clear pitch. Mm-hmm. He knew his market. I asked him some questions about his competitors, and I thought he handled those well. I would have liked to hear more about the size of the market that he was pursuing, mm-hmm. What component he could actually address of that, assuming it's a big market.
Yeah.
That's definitely something, I would want to know. Is this a problem that's worth spending a lot of time and resources on? I wanted to know, too, a little bit more about his team. He clearly was, a physician, but I didn't know how much technical depth he had or if he needed to add that to his team.
So maybe, Rob, you can share some thoughts about EterNav.
Yeah, I clearly, this is a really interesting space. The transition of these kinds of industries that are very local and very embedded in their communities, by the introduction of technology is a really interesting concept. I think the entrepreneur had a lot of research into what's happening in the industry. Mm-hmm. I didn't feel like in the time we had, we really got into the weeds about the actual business value proposition.
Yeah.
What's really happening? What is she developing? What is her team's work out in the marketplace?
Interesting. So you both have lots of questions that you wanted to ask, which is kind of tough on TV. Scott, some of your perceptions.
Yeah, I think a challenge that they both may share is access to the market and getting their product in front of people. Leland mentioned how crowded the space is from fitness apps and how he's going to differentiate himself in that space in a very quick manner. And I think also for EterNav, they're dealing with consumers that are in a very difficult place emotionally and mentally, and how are they going to access those folks at the right moment?
Exactly. So lots of challenges in terms of how big these businesses could be. What are your thoughts about that, Rob?
Well, this is the one area that in the EterNav example, I think Casey did a really good job of identifying how big the market was, what the actual, level of opportunity was, and it wouldn't take a large disruption to build a very successful business. So I was particularly impressed in that case. I thought with Leland, that's a very crowded space. And so, while he does have a differentiation, he's gonna have to be crowding out other entrepreneurs, and that's a tough place to be.
Yeah. So Jeff, from a lawyer's perspective, what kind of legal issues do you think these two need to be focusing on?
Yeah, well, so Leland identified some legal issues right in his pitch. So I think those were clear. EterNav, I understood, I think, the problem, but I don't think we got too far into the details of her business model, so it's hard to say exactly what legal issues she's going to face. I assume she'd face a number of issues with just contracts. It's
kind of typical kind of small business issues.
Typical small business issues, but I'm sure there are a number of nuanced stuff that we just don't know enough to know yet.
So Jeff, I want to finish up here with out of all the things that you identified, what are the 1 or 2 things that these companies need to focus on in the next 6 to 12 months?
Yeah, so I think with Leland, I'd say next 6 to 12 months, add key critical team members, figure out the path to really just making money. That wasn't clear. With EterNav, I think I'd say condense that model down. She's got a very wide platform, condense it, and focus on the critical path.
Rob, quick thoughts?
Yeah, I actually take off of what Jeff said. I think for both of them, the concept of having a very focused execution path. Neither of them are technologists, which is a good thing in the sense that they're domain experts in their field. On the other hand, they're not technologists, and they're building technology-enabled platforms.
Scott, quick marketing idea for one of them?
No, I think they're both on the right track. I think starting with Android versus the iPhone space for Leland is. I'd like to understand why you picked that.
Okay. Well, we will be back with the judges' choices after a short break here on Greenlight Maine.
Greenlight Maine would like to thank the Maine Department of Economic and Community Development, the Maine DECD, helping businesses and communities prosper.
I think people walk into our store because they know we're going to treat them well, and they know they're going to get a good value for whatever they're looking at.
It's definitely something that you don't see at large corporate chains that have lost that real personal touch that we try to keep up with every day.
At Days, we constantly show that we care. They know that we're going to take care of them for years to come. It's not a one sale and done. We want to build customers for a lifetime.
Make sure that my jewelry comes from Days.
In 1972, Tom Moser committed his life's work to craft, and 4 decades later employs 70 fine craftsmen and women in our shop in Auburn, Maine. With showrooms and customers from coast to coast and numerous awards and accolades, Tom has firmly established himself as an entrepreneurial tour de force and has proven that a life doing what you love is indeed possible.
This year's winner of Greenlight Maine will win this handmade Thomas Moser beacon box and $100,000. Please join us to find vital information on our website at greenlightmaine.com and be a part of our vibrant community on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Together, we're building Maine's future, one dream at a time.
We're back on Greenlight Maine. We've heard the pitches and the judges' deliberations. Now it's time, judges, to show the audience who you're picking tonight. That means Foodwise is going to advance to the finals, where 13 companies will be competing for a chance to win at least $100,000 in cash. And whether or not you at home agreed with the judges, you can go to greenlightmaine.com and vote for your favorite entrepreneur. We'll be back next week with 2 more exciting entrepreneurs here on Greenlight Maine. We'll see you then.
Greenlight Maine has been brought to you by Thomas Moser Furniture, handmade American furniture since 1972. Greenlight Maine would not be possible without the support of all of our corporate sponsors. Thank you.
Give me that green light. Give me that green light, Maine. Give me that green light. Give me that green light, Maine.
Greenlight Maine has been a paid-for presentation by the Portland Media Group.